morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. As always, we're coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Well, as a brand new week begins today, so does a significant chapter for thousands of young Sri Lankans. The 2025 GCE Advanced Level Examination begins today, and we at Newsfirst extend our very best wishes to all the candidates sitting for this year's examination. May your hard work, dedication and determination lead you to success. With that, let's move on to local news this morning. The Department of Examinations says that all arrangements have been made for this year's GCE Advanced Level Examination. The Advanced Level Examination, which commences today, will be held until the 5th of December at 2,362 examination centres across the island. A total of 340,525 candidates will sit for this year's examination, including 246,521 school candidates and 94,004 private candidates. A total of 325 coordination centres and 32 regional collecting centres have been established island-wide for the examination. Commissioner General of Examinations, Indika Kumari Liyanage, stated that the examination will commence this morning at 8:30 a.m. All candidates are required to arrive at their designated examination centres 1 hour prior to the start of the exam. Furthermore, candidates must be seated in their assigned seats with their index numbers displayed half an hour before the examination begins by 8 a.m. for the morning session. The afternoon session will begin at 1 p.m. except on Fridays, when it will commence at 2 p.m. The Commissioner General of Examinations yesterday announced more guidelines to be followed by the candidates. So let's take a look.
A total of 340,525 candidates have qualified for this year's examination, which includes 246,521 school candidates and 94,004 private candidates. The number of coordination centres established across the island for the examination is 325. 32 regional collecting centres have been established for this year's advanced level examination. What can be taken into the examination hall?
You may
only take your identity card, admission card and the necessary instruments for writing the exam, such as pens and pencils, into the examination hall. If you need to check the time, you may wear a regular wristwatch. We would like to remind you not to bring smartwatches or digital watches into the examination hall. Also, your face must be uncovered for the entire duration of the examination. Similarly, your ears must be uncovered because of the possibility of candidates wearing communication devices. Such rules are enforced to prevent examination malpractice. As always, an additional reading time of 10 minutes is provided for a 3-hour question paper. I would like to remind all candidates to face the examination with a calm mind.
What identification documents should be brought for the examination?
You must bring your examination admission card, which bears your signature, as well as a valid identification document, which can be your national identity card, a valid driving license or a valid passport.
What should a candidate do if they do not have a valid identity card? The opportunity has been given to sit for the examination this time even without a valid identity card. If the candidate is a school candidate, 2 photographs attested by the relevant principal and the zonal education director can be used as a valid identification document. If the candidate is a private candidate, the opportunity has been given to use the postal identity card. Alternatively, they can present 2 photographs attested by the Gramaniladari and the divisional secretary. However, the Commissioner General of Examinations said that the results of such candidates will be released only after an inquiry. What should candidates do in the event of a sudden disaster? The Disaster Management Centre and the Department of Examinations have jointly implemented a special program to prevent disruptions that may be caused by disasters during the advanced level examination period. Students who may be affected due to a disaster situation can inform the authorities by calling 117 or the Department of Examinations via the number 1911. Furthermore, Pradeep Kodipilli, the director of the Disaster Management Centre, said that the necessary coordination assistance can be obtained by contacting the National Examination Emergency Operations Unit established within the DMC's Emergency Operations Room via the special hotline 0113 668 026 or 0113 668 032 or 0113 668 087 or 0113 668 119.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka police say that special security arrangements have been put in place for the GCE advanced level examination. Police media spokesperson ASP Frederick Woodler stated that instructions have been issued to ensure comprehensive security coverage for all examination centres across the island. According to the police media spokesperson, mobile and night patrol units have been deployed to provide the necessary security for each examination centre. He further noted that, if required, assistance from the Police Special Task Force will also be sought to strengthen the security operations during the examination period. Now, special transport services have been launched in view of the GCE advanced level examination as well. Deputy General Manager of Operations of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, THRT Chandrasiri, stated that special bus services will be in operation from today until the conclusion of the examination period to facilitate the transportation needs of students and staff. Meanwhile, the Department of Railways announced that all scheduled train services will operate as usual today. The department further confirmed that all necessary arrangements have been made to ensure the smooth operation of train services without any delays or cancellations during the examination period. With that, let's move on to more local news this morning. Well, today marks the second day of the debate on the 2026 budget speech. The debate on the second reading of the budget is scheduled to continue for 6 days until the 14th of this month. The vote on the second reading of the 2026 budget is scheduled to take place at 6 p.m. on the 14th of November. The committee stage debate of the budget will be held from the 15th of November until the 5th of December, spanning 17 days. Meanwhile, the final vote of the third reading of the budget is scheduled for 6 p.m. on the 5th of December. The 2026 budget speech was presented to Parliament last Friday by President Anurukumara Dissanayake in his capacity as the Minister of Finance. This marks the second budget of the new government and the 80th national budget of independent Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, Minister of Public Security Anand Vijaypala says that individuals addicted to drugs will no longer be arrested but instead directed voluntarily to rehabilitation. The minister stated that steps are currently underway to establish rehabilitation centres in every district to support this new initiative. The police say that steps are being taken to obtain 7-day detention orders for further investigations into a suspect arrested with crystal methamphetamine or ice in Puttalam. Police added that the suspect will be produced before court today. The 33-year-old resident of Mulyanagar in Puttalam was arrested with 3 kilograms and 290 grams of crystal meth valued at over 30 million rupees. Meanwhile, a woman was arrested in Sinigama yesterday with a stock of heroin. The suspect, a 42-year-old resident of Sinigama, Hikadwa, was found in possession of 6 kilograms and 534 grams of heroin at the time of her arrest. Meanwhile, an investigation has been launched into the driver and the guard of a train that operated from Beliatta to Anuradhapura yesterday morning. The Department of Railways stated that the inquiry was initiated after the train reportedly stopped for about 30 minutes at the Veyangoda railway station without prior notice. According to the department, the train guard had halted the train suddenly due to the driver allegedly operating it at an excessive speed, resulting in a 30-minute stop at the station. The department further noted that both the driver and the guard had later engaged in a heated argument following the incident. The delay caused significant inconvenience to the passengers. The train, which departed from the Beliatta railway station at 8:50 a.m., was scheduled to reach Anuradhapura at around 7 p.m. However, it had arrived after 8 p.m. yesterday. With that, let's move on to our weather forecast for today. The Met Department says that showers or thunder showers will occur at most parts of the island after 1 p.m. Fairly heavy falls above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the Uva, southern, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces and in the Ampara and Batiklo districts. And as always, the general public is requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. With that, let's move on to international news. Typhoon Fung Wong has made landfall in the Philippines, where more than 900,000 people have been evacuated and 2 people have died. The storm hit as a super typhoon with sustained winds of around 185 kilometers per hour and gusts of 230 kilometers per hour. The country's meteorological service warned of destructive winds and high risk of life-threatening storm surges from the very intense typhoon. Fung Wong, known locally as Uwan, comes days earlier after earlier storm Kalmegi left nearly 200 people dead. Eastern parts of the Philippines had already begun experiencing heavy rains and winds on Saturday evening. The storm passed near the eastern Bicol region on Sunday morning before making its way past the Polillo Islands on Sunday afternoon. The Civil Defense Office reported that 1 person drowned and firefighters recovered the body of a woman trapped under debris in the Catbalogan city. The civil aviation regulator has closed several airports and almost 300 flights have been cancelled. Fung Wong was expected to weaken after making landfall, but it is likely to remain a typhoon as it travels over Luzon. More than 200 millimeters of rain is forecast for parts of Luzon, with even 100 to 200 millimeters in the Metro Manila area. It is expected to cause severe flooding and landslides. Fung Wong was also forced the suspension of rescue operations following the passage of Kalmegi, one of the strongest typhoons this year. Heavy rainfall sent torrents of mud down hillsides and into residential areas. Some poorer neighborhoods were obliterated by the fast-moving flash floods. At least 204 people are now known to have died in the Philippines as a result of the earlier storm, while more than 100 are still missing. Now, the BBC's Director General Tim Davie and Head of News Deborah Turnus have resigned after criticism that a Panorama documentary misled viewers by editing a speech by Donald Trump. Davie, in the job for 5 years, had faced increasing pressure over a series of controversies and accusations of bias that have dogged the public broadcaster. The Telegraph published details of a leaked internal BBC memo on Monday that suggested the Panorama program edited 2 parts of the US president's speech together, so he appeared to explicitly encourage the Capitol Hill riot of January 2021. UK political leaders have expressed hope the resignations would lead to change, while Trump welcomed the decision. It is unprecedented for both the Director General and the head of BBC News to resign on the same day. And in more international news, flight delays and cancellations continue to snarl US air travel for the 3rd day as Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned air traffic will be reduced to a trickle if the US government shutdown continues. More than 2,200 flights to, from or within the US were cancelled and 7,200 delayed by late afternoon on Sunday, according to flight tracker FlightAware. The longest delays were reported in Newark, New Jersey, more than 2 hours on average. In a hopeful sign, lawmakers are working on a possible deal to reach a compromise on government funding and end the shutdown, according to US media reports. The Senate was scheduled to convene on Sunday in a rare weekend session. Duffy warned the impacts on air travel will grow dire if they do not break the stalemate soon. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, announced last week that it would be reducing air travel capacity by up to 6% this weekend and 10% by next weekend at 40 of the nation's busiest airports. The cuts do not apply to international flights, but some airlines may choose to also cancel some of those flights. Coming up next is sports news for this morning. African champions Morocco completed the biggest victory in FIFA Under-17 World Cup history when they defeated nine-man New Caledonia 16-0 in their Group B clash in Al Rayyan on Sunday. South Africa did book their place in the next stage despite a 3-1 loss to Italy as they finished second in Group B, while Senegal finished top of Group C following a 5-0 victory over the United Arab Emirates. Morocco's huge victory beat Spain's 13-0 win over New Zealand in 1997, which was the previous largest margin victory of the competition. Well, that's a wrap of this morning's edition of the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. Thank you for joining us this morning. Have a wonderful day ahead.